I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. And you must be pretty excited because you've got your new album out this week.
Yes, extremely excited.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, 11 years.
How come it's taken so long to get it done?
Well, this had more to do with the music industry than anything else. I put out two, I've had records out before, with Will. I put out two independent records. I just didn't like the structure of the music industry because I felt like there were so many blockages from doing exactly what you want and when you want it. I'm extremely excited, more so at the fact that this is the first time ever in my career that I have put something out and released it 100% independent. So this is a lot more than just putting out music. It's kind of like always wanting the ability to release the music that you want it, how you want it, and have access to get it to the people that like what you do. And there was a point in time that you thought that was absolutely impossible to do. So to be able to do that today is extremely exciting.
And what can we expect from the album? Are there a lot of collaborations on there?
It's not too many collaborations. I basically did the album with a group we put together called The Trinity, which is made up of Rhymefest, who has wrote most of the stuff for Kanye West, and incredible, rapper MC, Dane Jordan, who is traveling the world with me, as we speak, and has put out a bunch of stuff. And I did it with my son, Amir. So that was, another milestone, just to be able to work with your son on a project. And I had a vocalist, Aaron Camper, out of Philadelphia. So I didn't want to do too many collaborations. I just wanted to kind of be the end of the trilogy. I put out a record called The Magnificent, put out a record called The Return of the Magnificent. This is called M3. It was initially designed to be a trilogy. So this is just closing this part of the trilogy. So I'm happy to finally be able to put the third installment out.
So after this third installment, have you got more plans to make more albums, maybe another trilogy?
Oh my God. I am going to put out a ton of music. I have music ready that I just would not put out until I put out this. It was almost kind of like, kind of the cliche, finish what you start. So I wanted to finish this, and then just start releasing music. I'm happy that, you finally have a clear path to, release the music that you want when you want. There are people out there that really enjoy the music that I make, and I really enjoy making it. So this is going to be good for everybody.
I'm sure you probably get asked this a lot and probably get fed up of people asking it, but are there plans to make more music with Will at any point in the future?
We've been talking about this so much, it gets a little difficult because of his schedule. Him arguably being one of the biggest movie stars in the world, sometimes, what I tell people is it's not that we don't want to. What we're fighting with is time. So I'm pretty sure, we were able to carve out some time and do a couple of shows last year, which were great. We just need to carve out some time and go in the studio and make some music.
I suppose it's hard as well because your schedule's pretty hectic as well. You're currently in Nairobi, then you're off to Switzerland, Germany, Malta, France, Minnesota, back in America, and that's just in this month alone.
Yeah. When you put it like that, that's a little insane. You know what it is? It's kind of like I've been blessed with the job to make people happy through music. There's a lot of people that need happiness, and so I'm very busy. So I love it.
It's festival season's just started here in the UK and probably most of the world. It must be amazing playing to huge crowds on huge stages, but do you still love the odd DJ gig in small, intimate clubs as well?
You know what? I love them both equally. There's nothing like an intimate setting. There's nothing like 200 people that you can reach out and touch, people dancing until they sweat. That's where I came from. The festival stages are great, but you can't touch them. So, when you have the ability to have people around you that you can reach out and touch, I think it's incredible.
I remember going back a few years now. I remember seeing you DJ at a small club in Bristol called Level. And I remember watching you. Yeah. It's kind of hypnotising seeing how you work because the skills that you show are just immense. But then you drop a certain track and the crowd would just go absolutely mental. So you must thrive off not just being a DJ, but kind of being a showman as well.
It's a little bit of both. You want to show people what you can do, but you never lose sight of the most important thing is making people happy through music. So I love, I've always said that the best moment of the night never comes from you playing the most recognizable song. It comes from you playing the curveball. It comes from you playing something that people don't necessarily expect. And you always try to give people a few moments of that, each night. That's when, when they're going home, that's what they talk about. So you want to make something memorable. That's your job, is to make memories.
Well, I certainly remember that set, and I'm sure everyone else there that night did as well. Just going back to the touring thing, obviously, as a world-renowned DJ like yourself, but with the sudden tragic death of Avicii, does it make you stop and think for a minute? Because from the outside, it looks all fun and glamorous, but I'm sure, things got too much for Tim. Can you relate to any of those kind of problems when touring?
Well, you know what? I've been blessed to be doing this for about 30 years. So you have seen a lot of that, and you kind of learn how to adapt. I've never been a big drinker. I've never done drugs. You kind of want to spare your body when it comes down to, needing rest. Sometimes, it's very important for me to get my rest. But I 1,000% understand the stress that goes into all the rest of this, and how sometimes that can get the best of people, especially somebody on Avicii's level. You have a lot of people that are depending on you to do things that sometimes they don't look at your health or your well-being as important. And you have to, a lot of times, be strong enough to say no and say that, you may need a break. You may need time off. When you get to that point, there are people around you that their livelihood depends on you. And you have to always look in the mirror and understand that you as an individual are the most important person, in this scenario.
So it's about looking after yourself and making sure that, you don't get sucked into maybe some of the temptations of the world that surrounds touring and clubs and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Back to the music, and one thing that I didn't realise about you is you were actually involved in the early 90s in The Simpsons. They had a track out, Deep, Deep Trouble, and you made that. I didn't know that.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Yes. We just got a call that it was like, hey, The Simpsons are working on an album. They want to know if you would be interested. I was in L.A. I got a chance to meet with Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, and met all of the cast and the characters, and we basically put together the track, and they put the lyrics on it. That was, that happened so fast, and you almost did it because you were such a big fan of The Simpsons, not realizing how big The Simpsons were.
Yeah, because, back then, it was big, but it's got even bigger now. Yes.
Think about it. I think I saw something that they said The Simpsons had the longest-running television show of all time.
And you've played a part in the early days. You must be really proud of that.
Oh, man. I didn't really think about it recently until you brought it up. So that's definitely something to reflect on.
When you look back over your career as a producer, either as Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince or producing solo-y, is there a standout track that you're particularly proud of?
You know what? I'm proud of all of them. I may be proud of tracks that I've done that have never come out. I think, I look at music and releasing music and doing things like that. It's almost like you giving birth or graduating, that, you love them all the same. A lot of the more favorite ones aren't because the world got a chance to hear them or the world loves them. You definitely appreciate that. Sometimes it's really just about, this is something that I felt that was really good, and you put it out. It's a feeling that unless you have the ability to put out something that a lot of people don't understand, that is kind of like you basically made something from nothing, and you can present it to the world for the world to enjoy. So that's, it doesn't get better than that.
And what about, okay, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. Well, as a DJ, or just as a fan of music entirely, I'm going to ask you to pick out 3 tracks now that have been a big influence on you over your life and your career.
Cannot do it.
Yeah, so
cannot do it.
You cannot do it. You can't pick out 3 tracks.
People, everybody, because that's a question that you would get. What is your favorite 3? If you were stranded on an island, once again, that's like picking your favorite kid. As a parent, you kind of know who your favorite kid is, even though you never say it out loud. But to be able to pick through millions and millions of songs and music, music is the greatest gift I had, and it's also the biggest curse because it keeps me up at night. I have an internal DJ that he never stops playing. Sometimes he gets on my nerves because he can play the most beautiful song in my brain, and sometimes he plays the commercial jingle over and over and over, and you just want him to stop playing music. And that's all a part of it. So to be able to pick out just one track, my life is comprised of it. When I wake up in the morning and I make my coffee, I'm listening to music. And I can listen to jazz. I can get in the car and go to the store and I'm listening to hip-hop. I can go in the studio and I want to vacuum and clean up the studio and I'm listening to Afrobeat. Like, my brain is all over the place when it comes to music. So there's no way for me to be able to pick something like that. The most difficult question anyone can ask.
Is there one track maybe when you look back over your early days that you first heard that made you passionate about music? Maybe the first track you ever bought or played or anything like that?
No, you know what? Because my father emceed for Count Basie, so I grew up in a house with old jazz 78s. I grew up with Wes Montgomery and Jimmy Smith. Then my older brothers, were into the New Age jazz. They were into George Duke and Chick Corea and Mahavishnu Orchestra and Weather Report. So I'm 8 years old knowing about that kind of music. And then my sisters were Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, and people like that. So, it's so much of music that I have that I don't know what my first music memory was. My older brother, at 7 years old, showed me how to take a record in and out of a sleeve, showed me how to care for a record, and he gave me the ability to play music. When he went to work, he said, if you want to play music, you can play music. So I'm 7 years old making cassette tapes, but this is pre-hip-hop, so I'm making cassette tapes of Herbie Hancock, Chameleon, because it moved me. I didn't know why. I didn't have an explanation. It was just something about music that I was just like, this moves me. So I don't, it's amazing that, you ask it. I don't think I've ever been asked that question, which I think is great, but I don't have a line to draw to a song.
Because you've obviously, your influences of music over the years, you bring that to your music, don't you?
Yes, have to. I don't know a person on earth, and I'm sure there's one, but I don't know a person on earth that likes one type of music.
Jazzy Jeff, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the support.